This is Hannibal from the HannibalTV.com. Before I do my wrap up, I just wanted to bring up something that I literally just saw. There's a few people that check my at the Hannibal TV Twitter, which is the company Twitter account of the Hannibal TV. I also have a Twitter at Devin Hannibal. And I don't regularly check the filtered messages, and I guess I checked tonight, and there was a message on there from Ryback, who obviously got some false information saying that I allegedly referred to him as a steroid abuser. At no point have I ever referred to him as a steroid abuser. I don't know what he takes other than what he said on his podcast with Jim Ross, on Jim Ross's podcast that Ryback appeared on. I'm a big fan of Jim Ross. Everybody knows that. I listened to that episode, and he said in that podcast that he was on testosterone replacement therapy well in WWE. So I have referenced that a few times because it's come up in shoot interviews and fan questions. Does WWE allow the wrestlers on steroids? From my understanding, testosterone replacement therapy is additional testosterone in your body prescribed by a doctor, which from my understanding is pretty much steroids. I'm no steroid expert. So have I ever said you abuse steroids? No. I don't know what you take. I really don't care what you take. Take whatever you want. That's just funny. I don't know where you're getting that, but you should check your facts. And apparently he also thinks that I agree with everything Superstar Billy Graham says. Superstar Billy Graham's done a lot for me. He's a hero of mine. He gave me the doctor that ultimately got me on the medication that got cured of Hep C, so I owe him my life in a way. So I always am loyal to him, but I certainly don't agree with everything he says. I liked Kofi Kingston as a friend in Deep South Wrestling. I believe his first WWE practice developmental match was against me in Deep South Wrestling. So I always liked him. I never had an issue with him. And I certainly didn't agree with, I don't agree with everything anyone says on my podcast or my YouTube channel. I put even people on that I don't like necessarily, like Billy Jack Haynes recently, or Orange Cassidy. I am a reporter first. So, and by the way, I will give Orange Cassidy some credit. He at least kayfabes his character. Does some of the stuff he does in the ring make wrestling look fake? Yes. Does he have fans? And does he have a job that probably pays him at least $100,000 a year? Yes. So whatever. Who am I to judge if he's making money at it? Somebody has to make money from wrestling. And the other thing, Ryback, when I said 3,500 American was too much for Great North Wrestling to afford to bring you up here to Canada to wrestle for us, I only said that when a fan asked me why hasn't Ryback been in Great North Wrestling. We did actually want you in Great North Wrestling at one point, as you know, because I contacted you or your people about it. But 3,500 US as of today's currency exchange, which I did exchange currency today. I got back from Philadelphia today. 4,658.52 is 3,500 US. Then you add in Vegas to Ottawa, between $600 and $800 flight. So let's say $700. Hotel anywhere from $140 to $200, sometimes more depending on the season. Then you have to put on the rest of the show: arena, insurance, ticket printing, poster printing, advertising, pay the undercard, rent the ring, rent the DJ. You're talking about probably a $12,000 to $15,000 show, which just isn't in my budget. And I understand if you're a millionaire, if you don't want to wrestle for less than 3,500, and that's why we don't see you much on the indies, that's fine. Like House of Hardcore just had a show in Philadelphia on the weekend that had less than 500 fans, apparently, according to Rob Feinstein, who filmed it. And it was a star-studded, packed card featuring many of the wrestlers that were icons of wrestling, including Orange Cassidy, Jacob Fatu, MLW champion. And I'm not saying they had a bad crowd, but they couldn't even fill the ECW arena. It's hard to get wrestling fans out because there's an oversaturation of wrestling right now. So many leagues out there, especially to an independent wrestling event. So I don't think you've heard correctly. That's all I have to say to you. I don't have anything against you. I don't care about you one way or another. I remember your Skip Sheffield Tough Enough promo. And I remember one of your matches with Jinder Mahal that I only watched because Jinder and Mahal and I used to be very close. Almost, I considered him one of my best friends at one point. And I follow his career still. So anyways, get your facts straight, please. I don't understand why people, Ken Shamrock was mad at me recently too. I don't spread lies. I am an honest person, and I like my job as a reporter. Some people think that I still have the dream of going to WWE. The only thing I'd want to go to WWE for is to get $1 million contract now. I wouldn't even want to. Why would I go and sign for developmental, even if that was offered to me where they could just hold me there for 5 years and waste my life when I can be doing what I love, interacting with legends. I did make up with Billy Jack Haynes over the weekend. It was a condition that for me to do my shoot interview with him, I had to do this RF video face-to-face interview that's going to be out at RF Video. And he apologized to me. And honestly, he's got a lot of health issues. He can't wrestle me, unfortunately. We wanted to do it at that Tommy Dreamer House of Hardcore show, but apparently Tommy Dreamer wasn't interested, and I believe that would have put them well over 500. Billy Jack Haynes hasn't wrestled in a long time, like literally since I think 96. So that would have drawn, and we had a legitimate disagreement. But I feel that was wasted. I mean, RF should have just filmed that and released that on video. I did find the host was rude and disrespectful, but I am a gentleman. I did expect the host to be Rob, but apparently he wanted to produce it instead. Okay, let me get into some of your questions. Oh yeah, before I get into your questions, the first interview I'm going to post for my patreon.com/the Hannibal TV fans in full is going to be the Sandman, simply because it was the shortest interview that I haven't edited yet. There's also Hillbilly Jim, Shane Douglas, Billy Jack Haynes, and Snitsky to edit. So you guys tell me on here which interview you want me to edit second, and I'll edit that one second. But I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed the Icons of Wrestling convention. Lanny Poffo and I ignored each other. Billy Jack Haynes and I ignored each other. I wanted to try and get a video. Sid was right beside Danny Spivey, by the way, Waylon Mercy is great. And he is scarier now than he ever is. And he looked more like he could play the Cape Fear character now than ever. And he's in great shape. I would say, unlike in the Skyscrapers days, Danny Spivey is actually in better shape than Sid now, muscular-wise. So, anyways, it was a pleasure seeing him. I met some nice people. Billy Gunn, I'm really sorry about this, man. That Billy Gunn interview, people that have seen it, it cut off after 2 minutes. The battery on my mic died, and I'm so annoyed because there was like 6 more minutes left, and it was a really great interview. So I think I'm going to have to get a full shoot interview with Billy Gunn sooner or later. He's a great guy. A lot of people pointed out that when he was in the ring with Orange Cassidy, how he actually looked like a giant, and he's actually a big guy. He's like 6'4", 6'5", probably 260-ish. Really nice guy too. It's cool. The week before I interviewed the Road Dogg Jesse James, And this week I interviewed Billy Gunn, and those were two highlights of my interviews the past 2 weeks. I also posted, by the way, that Albany interview trip. It's in full if anyone wants to watch it. I'll just answer a couple questions. Real Frisco, Jacob Fatu is the next up. Can't wait to see him in the big leagues. Well, he just re-signed to a multi-year contract to MLW, and Tom Lawler did as well. I actually tried to listen, by the way, on the way over to Philadelphia. If Tom Lawler is listening by some chance, by the way, I've wrestled him before. He has a very strong chokehold. My throat was hurting the whole drive home. But I listened to him talking why he re-signed with MLW on his Wrestling Observer radio show, and then they started to do the SmackDown review, and I had to turn it off. I didn't even want to hear their review. It was boring me so much. Krilling876 just gave me a $5 tip, so I better answer his question. Same if people tip me in live streams. I'll always take their questions first. He says, Tommy Dreamer is a gentleman, but doesn't do a great job promoting. I always seem to find out about events after they occur. Well, I'll always like Tommy Dreamer because he gave me a lot of WWE tryouts. He wanted to get me signed by WWE when he was in charge of sending people to the tryouts. But unfortunately, I just had bad luck, and it's not like today where they look closer at you. Back between 2004 to 2009 when I was getting tryouts, sometimes you just do nothing back there. The best one I ever had is when I wrestled with The Undertaker. I also had an amateur wrestling match with Sheldon Benjamin at another one, which he ended up outpointing me. We went for a long time, and we were eventually kicked out of the ring. But that was one of the highlights. I love Sheldon Benjamin. He's great. And we used him in Great North Wrestling. My dog wants to say hi. By the way, Melina has a dog named Blue, and that's a great dog. So you know what? My dog wants to block me, so I'm just going to call it a night. Thanks for the tip, Krilling. I'll get to everyone else's message on other live streams. I've already gone 12 minutes here, and I want to at least edit a little bit before I go to bed. So good night, everybody. Thanks for all your views.